everyone, welcome back to the channel. DT Model Art here. Next step here is part 8 and I know I had said, hey, I'm not going to bore you guys with painting again on this car because you've already seen what I did on the front piece here on the monocoat. However, I know you guys dig seeing clear coat being shot because it's something that I watch in videos all the time and just go, it's soothing. There's something soothing about it. So I'm going to give you guys that pleasure, I guess you could say, of seeing the clear coat shot again on the final pieces here. The only part that I haven't gotten prepped and ready yet is the front wing and the rear wing. I will get those ready at a later date when it calls for them. But I just really want to get this thing in paint and get the clear coat on it. So what I've done is I've moved ahead a little bit, and I have done the primer, gravity primer, the white undercoat. I use titanium white for that purpose, and then the Ferrari F1 Rosso SF70H red, all from Gravity Colors USA. And I've done this main piece here. This is all decal. It was masked off though using the Gravity Colors pre-cut Tamiya masks. Even though they're made by Tamiya, you know, Gravity Colors. If you purchase their set, it's already pre-cut for you, so you don't have to worry about cutting those things off or making a mistake with the blade and sliding and ruining those areas they want you to cut. Very intricate masks, and if they're pre-cut, I definitely will recommend those to you. So then what I did is I went ahead and applied the white, taped off the fin with the gravity masks, and then went ahead and shot the Rosso red on there in base coat. And then I applied the decals. As you can see, I put the decals right over the base coat. The base coat has a nice eggshell finish to it, so it took the decals really well. And I used good amounts of Microsol, Mr. Mark Softener, and the Tamiya strong Mark Fit solutions. I've also gotten all the other pieces ready. This is the piece that goes, that's the air intake for the engine, right above the driver. It's decaled, everything's ready to go, ready to be cleared. And the side winglet pods that go to the side. There are, like I said, there still are pieces that I have to paint, but I'll get to those later. I want to get these in paint because there's some Tamiya carbon fiber decals that have to be applied to these winglets at a later date as well, and I want them to stay the natural decal finish. I don't want to put those on and clear over them because they weren't super high gloss on the real car. This is the piece that goes on top of the monocoat in front of the driver. It's a cover that goes right, I think it's the radio cover or something like that. It goes right here. So I gotta go ahead and clear that. And then these are the little NACA ducts or side intake ducts for the engine as well that need to be painted red. They were painted red, and I got to do these. I got to clear those, and once they're done, paint this black along here with a brush. So there will be some areas that should be carbon on this car, but they're going to be painted black just because it's going to look cleaner. Trying to get carbon on those pieces and getting them mounted and all that is just really a tall order. So I'm looking for cleanliness on this model, along with some enhancements with the carbon fiber. But mainly, I'm using the kit pieces. Besides what I did in the interior. So the next step is to go ahead and clear it, and again, my clear of choice is going to be the Shopline JC830. It's a 4-to-1 clear. It's 4 parts clear, 1 part of the hardener here. I got the cap off this thing, so let me make sure I don't go to the side here and leak out. There's the hardener, 8380. So 1 part of this, 4 part of this, and then 1 part of the JR506 reducer. And if you want to go maybe 1.5 parts on this, you can, just to make your clear a little bit thinner. But you're going to have graininess, or you could have a trade-off of having a little bit of graininess in the clear if you go if you over reduce it a little bit too much with this stuff. So I would stick with the original you know, formula. Or what you also could do is, and I've done this before, it's a trick, is I'll do one nice coat with the actual mix formula, and then what I'll do is add a touch more of the J506 reducer to the final coat, and it lays out a lot. It lays out and levels nicely, but it doesn't get grainy because the previous coat underneath is a little bit more high solid content. That's what you get with two-part clear urethanes, gentlemen and ladies. Is you get a high solid clear, but with the high solid clear trade-off comes the fact that you can bury your paint jobs in what we call syrup. This stuff is literally the same type of stuff in essence that they coat bowling balls with. It's a urethane. So it's it can be really thick and heavy and hide all your details if you go a little bit nuts with it with the spray gun. And of course the spray gun, you guys have seen it in the videos before, but this is my Badger 150. It's my go-to for clears only. I only use this for clears because I don't want anything else running through it in case that spits out and goes into my clear coat jobs. So this is the only thing that gets shot in this gun is clear. And it's an old trusty friend. It's been around for a long time. You can see it's worn out a little bit right there, but it really works well. So let's go ahead and get the clear mixed up, and I'll see you guys in the paint booth in a minute. Let's do this. Alright, so here we are back at the bench with the pieces that I went ahead and cleared. I've given them a little bit of time to dry so that I can sit here and handle them and show them to you, to all of you. So here's how it came out. That's the main piece. Again, that's one medium coat of the clear, waiting about 5 minutes, like the caption said in between, and then hitting it with one final coat. This stuff just dries pretty much like it's applied. So if you thin it out a little bit more, it helps, you know, not lose any of the panel lines and such. And you can see I didn't lose them. I mean, they're there. It's not welled up too much against the edges. Nothing that a little bit of polishing won't be able to knock off. So I'm real pleased with that. All the little tiny parts here, the winglets and such, they're all done. So basically, I'm at a point now where I'm going to let that stuff dry. And in the remainder of this video, we're going to get the interior buttoned up. Now, the seat is in permanently now. Okay, that's in there. It's glued in. It's ready to roll. The only thing that's really left is the steering wheel right here. So, you know, I've kind of pre-done a little bit of prepping on the steering wheel. And here is our steering wheel right here. It has been painted and such. It's been glued together. And I've put one coat by brush, yes, by brush, of this Acryl semi-gloss black on there as a base. Now, obviously, the real steering wheel is all carbon fiber. The whole thing is just solid carbon, you know, with routed and milled out areas for the gauges and the buttons and all that stuff. It's a work of art. If you go online and want to find photos of this thing, your best bet is to go to Amalgam. They sell a one-to-one replica, not a functional steering wheel, but it's completely looks exactly like the real thing that Vettel has in the car. You can go to, in fact, I got it right here. There's a photo of it. And if you go to Amalgam, you punch in SF70H 2017 steering wheel, this site will come up. And then you can just go through here and look at all the pictures and get an idea of how you want to make this thing look. They're excellent, excellent reference pictures. You can see there that the steering wheel is got an orange quick release connector on there, which Tamiya tells you to paint orange. So I guess there are some oddball orange accents inside the car. Now the top of the steering wheel is really exposed with carbon. So that's the piece that I am going to make sure I apply carbon to. And what I've done already is I've made a template, and I've taken that same carbon sheet that I used for the sides and the seat and all that, because it seems like the interior of the car has really fine plain weave carbon. So here we go. I know the camera's not picking it up as well, but it is really fine stuff. So I made a template of the, I'm going to move this down a little bit for you. Don't worry, I won't get it out of view because I've got a monitor now that I'm looking right at, so I won't get this out of view. So I made a small template, and what we're going to do is we are going to apply that template to the top of the steering wheel. And then the rest of the steering wheel, I'm going to use the kit decals. I'm not going to try to paint all that stuff. They say you can, it's optional. There's no way I'm doing all those dials. The key here is I'm going to have to use copious amounts of microsol to get this to really conform down to the steering wheel really, really well. So what you'll need to do is use a hairdryer, lots of microsol, and a lot of blotting with a Q-tip or a soft, clean rag to push against the dials to get this thing to snug down to all the little crevices in the steering wheel you see here. So that's our next step. But before we do that, we're going to put this little decal on here. So join me here while we go ahead and throw some music on, and we put this thing together, and I'm going to speed it up a little bit to save some time. So here we go. Let's do it. Alright, so like the caption said, after copious amounts of the Mark Fit Strong, this stuff, blotting down with a Q-tip and just pressing down with a soft cloth and reapplying, I got the thing to finally conform, and here she is. And I've also detail painted the quick connect or connect and release coupler orange as per the instructions, and as you saw in the amalgam reference photos of the 1-to-1 model steering wheel that they do, which is like $3,500 by the way, just for the steering wheel. It doesn't even work, but it's pretty interesting how cool that is. So this is the miniature 1/20th shrunk down version of that piece. So now all we have left to do is to install it. Now you got to be careful when you install the steering wheel that you don't put it on too much of an angle, because you don't want that steering wheel to be sticking up above the crest on the edge here. I mean, that would make it very non-aerodynamic, and that's just not the way that steering wheel will be. So I'm going to apply a little bit of this Bob Smith Industries Instacure cyanacrylate glue. If you guys aren't using Bob Smith, I gotta cut the nib a little bit. It's clogged. If you don't use Bob Smith Industries super glue, I strongly advise you do. This is just like Zap-A-Gap, but it's better. It's got a better quality to it. So I use this like the gap filling green bottle, and I have this as well. Now this stuff you can put on clear glass and it won't fog it up. This will. But the foam, I guess they call it the foam safe Super Gold, I keep this strictly for my clear pieces, because believe it or not, you can install glass with this and it will not fog up your glass. Phenomenal stuff, and it's very strong, so it's good stuff. Anyways, I just want to let you know about that as well. So I'm gonna apply a little bit of this inside the car. Whoops. Don't like it when it spits out at me a little bit there. Alright. You don't need a whole lot of this stuff. You just need a little dab that goes right there in that hole. And then this is the tricky part. What I'm going to do is get a pair of tweezers here. By the way, these tweezers I got from Art Lasky at Art Lasky Specialties, I believe is the name of his website. If you want to get a pair of them, he has them in stock. Just go out and look for LaskySpecialties.com, I believe is the website, and you can get a pair of these. They're really fine on the end, and they pick up everything. It's great. So now what I'm going to do is grab this right there, and I'm going to push this in place. Now I'm also going to get my X-Acto knife in place so that I can basically put this in and get it in place. I'm going to tip it up so I don't lose it. I'm going to lose it anyways, aren't I? Oops. Look at that. Tricky. It's a tricky steering wheel. You don't have a whole lot to grip to, and you want to get it where you need it. So what I may do is put it in and hold it in place with my finger here. I'm sorry that I've got to do this, and block what I'm doing somewhat. But I need to get this thing in place so it holds in place. There. Oh yeah. There. What you can also do as a trick, if you're unsure if it's going to stay in place, you can grab a little bit of this stuff. Bob Smith Industries also accelerator. And what I do is this stuff is paint safe. And I put a little bit on the end of a X-Acto knife, and I just touch it in there. And it'll go right in there, and it'll insta-cure, which is what it's called, that bond. There, gentlemen and ladies. There you go. So, let me get you a better look before... There is our steering wheel in place. I think it's a little crooked, but it's so close I don't think I'm going to worry about it. Let's see if we can move it just a tad over. There we go. Perfect. There we are. So you can see the carbon on top of the steering wheel. You can see the coupler in there. You can see the whole front face with all the gauges and dials. To me, everyone, that's money right there. There's not a whole lot of detail inside these interiors, so it's good to have what you see there in place. Very, very cool. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this. This is going to be the end of this video again. Please, if you haven't, again, I sound like a broken record all the time, but please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Smash that like button and hit the ringer. Hit the bell, so that you guys know when another video comes out and don't have to go check on it periodically. It'll pop right up on your phones or your computers or whatever you're using for YouTube, and you'll get to watch the next video. So I hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.